Now, along coastlines from Australia to Kenya to Mexico, many of the world's colorful coral reefs have turned ghostly white. Scientists say that this amounted to the fourth global bleaching event in the last 3 decades. And according to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, at least 54 countries and territories have experienced mass bleaching among their reefs since February 2023. This as climate change warms the ocean's surface waters. Sea surface temperatures over the past year have smashed records that have been kept since 1979, and this is the effects of El Nino are compounded by climate change. Scientists now worry that many of the world's reefs will not recover from the intense, prolonged heat stress. Corals are bright and colorful because of microscopic algae. The algae lives within the coral in a symbiotic relationship, but when the ocean environment gets too hot, the coral stresses out and expels this algae. And as the algae leaves, the coral fades until it looks like it's been bleached. Corals lose their vibrant colors, turn white. Furthermore, if the temperature stays high, the coral won't let the algae back and the coral will die. For an event to be deemed global, significant bleaching must occur in all 3 ocean basins, and that is the Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Oceans, and that too within a 365-day period. Like this year's bleaching event, the last 3 that occurred in 1998, 2010 and 2014 to 2017 also coincided with El Nino climate pattern. Now, why do corals matter? Coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor but have outsized benefits for marine ecosystems and economies. A quarter of the marine life will depend on reefs for shelter, finding food or spawning at some point in their lives. Every year, reefs provide about $2.7 trillion in goods and services, from tourism to coastal protection. About $36 billion is generated by snorkeling and scuba diving tourists alone. Coral reefs also help coastal communities by forming a protective barrier against storm surges and large waves. This helps avoid property damage for more than 5 million people worldwide. So what happens when coral reefs die? Well, dead reefs can still offer shelter to fish or provide a storm barrier over several years for coastal communities. But eventually, these underwater graveyards of calcium carbonate skeletons will erode and break apart. The best chance for coral survival is for the world to cut greenhouse gas emissions to limit climate change. Local communities have cleanup programs to remove litter from the reefs to reduce further stress, and scientists are breeding corals in labs with the hopes of restoring degraded reefs. Scientists are also trying to plan for the future by bringing coral larvae into conservation banks and breeding corals with more resilient traits.
And the idea there is to give corals the best chance to cope with this added stressor that they're dealing with regularly now. So, things like reducing land-based sources of pollution, improving water quality, making sure that, fishing is sustainable, as well as not, make sure fishing is not destructive. All these kind of things can really help to create an environment that gives corals the best chance to survive, essentially, over the next 20, 30, 40 years.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.